Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final pre-match build-up of the 2022-2023 season. All I can say is thank God, because it has been a horrendous, horrible season to forget. I am joined today by Stu and James. Stu, how are you?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. It's positive and negative, isn't it? We're glad the season's over, but we're gonna miss it in about a week's time, I think. So
We're
it's
just
one of
going to
those.
miss football. We're just going to
Yeah,
miss
that's
football.
it. That's mainly it. Yeah, missing the football already. It's not even
But
finished.
I don't think, unlike other teams, we're going to, release a DVD of a season to forget, are we?
That would very much, mate. You never know though. Castor special edition. It won't put it past them.
I know. A season to forget. Football top. I know. Wouldn't surprise me. James, how are you?
I'm all right, mate. But up early this morning, mate, away working and that. So I'm good, mate. I'm good. As you said, just glad now the season's finally coming to an end, mate.
I know the only problem I've got is I'm trying to now think of content to put out over the closed season. I don't just want to put out anything. I want to put out some quality content. So, Paul, I'm not hungover at all, my friend. I am ill. Hence why there was no phone in last night. But I've managed to drag myself out of bed and come and do a pre-match that, let's be honest, folks, doesn't matter. And I think you'll probably judge that by the team today. And there's a few, as ever, James, with Rangers, there is a few questions in amongst the starting lineup, albeit I've just said it doesn't really matter. But like Stu says to me yesterday when we recorded the press conference reaction for Patreon, I suppose every game does matter in a way. But your Rangers starting lineup today, in goals is Robbie McCrory. And then is it going to be a back four? Is it going to be a back three? We'll stick with a back four just now. Tavernier, Suter, Lundstrom, and Redvan. A midfield three, I think, of Jack, Cantwell, and Raskin. And then a front three of Hadji, Matondo, and Fashion Jr. James, your thoughts on the starting lineup? And is it a 4-3-3? Is it a 3-5-2? Is it a 2-1-2-5-4-9-7-8? What is it?
I've no idea, mate. I don't know if they'll start off as a back four. And maybe, I don't know, Lundstrom will, but depending on how it's gone, Lundstrom might get pushed back into the middle of the park. But I just think it's a bit of a funny one, mate, when you've obviously got the boy Leon King there. He's a centre half, man. He should be playing. Do you know what I mean? It's, as you said, mate, it's the last game of the season, nothing to play for. I don't know why King's no playing. Give the boy a run of games and see what he can do. He looked actually quite good against Hearts the other night. Also, I know he came off, but for me, I would have started King in there instead of Lundstrom.
Can I just say a couple of comments to pick up on, Stu, before I come to yourself? This is dedication to Watch the Rabble, by the way. AJIK, morning lads from New York, 7 a.m. here. Not jealous, because it's currently 12:04 in Hamilton. And Hamilton's a beautiful part of the world, AJIK. I don't know how it compares with New York. But yeah. RRM, get well soon, Martin. Thank you very much. CGM, a few surprises in the lineup. No idea what King has done to be benched. And I would say all of that front three in the summer. Paul Martin, content for you. All the players Rangers missed out on signing. I think at the top of that list is Lionel Messi in it, but there you go. But this, Stu, is something that me and you spoke about, I think, on the press conference reaction from Kevin. Arfield should be starting and as captain. Now, we spoke about games that really don't really matter in terms of league position or points, etc. But you says to me, every game matters and you should be playing the players that are either going to be here or can fully contribute to the game. So should Arfield, as we know he's leaving, should Arfield have got a start today?
I know I said that, but when you look at that team, it's especially the front three. Whether we can mix something up with Cantwell, just see that Sibo comment, Jesus.
I love Sibo.
It's got a screamer past Chelsea.
You know, and Aberdeen. Hey, while we're on this, and listen, lads, I know we're building up, but it's the final game of the season, so you know the reaction's going to be the same. We're going to try and have a bit of a laugh, but do not take away that man's goal against Aberdeen in the last minute.
Yeah, no, I won't. But it's just I tried to forget about Sibo as much as possible. To be
Don't
honest,
ever forget about Siebel.
I thought he was gonna be the next big thing, right? I really thought he was gonna take us to new heights, and yeah, well, what happened. He had the biggest head in the world. He looked like one of them, them little power pods things, didn't he? With a small body and the gigantic head. That was
I
Philip
will
Sibo.
not hear a bad word said about Philip Siebel. Move on.
But Arfield, yeah, I don't know why. I think he could have contributed from the start today, but I expect we'll see him because I think, as much as I said, we need players that are going to actually contribute to the game. I think he is one of those players that can do that, definitely from the bench at least. I wouldn't be surprised if the captaincy is given to him towards the end of the game for a send off. That wouldn't surprise me. But equally, if Bill wants to start saying, they've had their send off now and this is it, this is what we're going to try going forward. Obviously, a few of these players aren't going to be here, we know that. But yeah, I think this is just that last game. We're putting out what we've got basically, and I understand the point about King, but the only thing I can think is the fact that he come off against Hearts, that he's not 100%, and that's why he's not in the team. Because I don't see a world where you play Lundstrom over King at the back. But I guess we'll wait and see whether they're going to do something fancy with the formation. I don't really know how we can make that a back three, but I guess we'll find out in about 23 minutes. You're on mute.
Just test.
Speak about Sibo for 5 minutes and even you start fucking up.
I know, this is true. This is true. Listen, I know we're having a laugh and a joke, but could you please watch your language? Because I know there is people of a younger vintage who watch the rabble. So please watch your language. It's not big, it's not clever. It just makes you look silly.
Right, okay, mate. Sorry, everyone.
I don't know. I know, actually, you're right. I don't know how you can make that a back three because Tavin and Yilmaz aren't. I don't think they can do the centre back role. So it has to, 100% has to be a back four. Biggie, wee haircut for Martin. I got it for Rabble on the road, Biggie. So yeah, there you go. And there might be another one coming up pretty soon. So keep your posted on our socials for that. Can I just say a big thank you to our sponsors as well? Let Me Repair UK for all your gadgets, your electronics, your computers, your phones, your laptops, etc., etc. The link for them is in the description. They've been a big support to the rabble, and I'd just like to say thank you very much today, guys. So go give them a look if you need anything fixed. They are your guys. Right, James, there's quite a few people saying Aaron Lyle, why is he not getting a start? If that's the front three, that's going to, if we're playing the players that are going to be here next season, that front three gives me the fear, etc., etc. So put everyone's worries, fears to bed. This is simply just a team that the manager's picked because he thinks they can beat St Mirren. There's no ulterior motive in this team, is there? There's nothing that we can take from this to say these players are all going to be here next season, etc., 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 is there?
No, I don't think so. And I think obviously speaking to Beale,
when were you talking to him?
Listening to Beale, sorry, do apologise. Listening to him, he sounds as if it's nobody's guaranteed a spot next year for me. That's the big thing. I think he obviously, when he first came in, he said what he had to say regarding these players to try and get a tune at them. But now he knows who he wants and who he wants to, or who he can rely on next year. That's the biggest thing for me with the selection of this team. I'd probably say there's probably another maybe 4 that will leave for that team, I think, in the summer, if we get decent offers in for them.
I have no idea. I don't have a hotline to Bill like you do, so I really, I genuinely wouldn't know.
I don't call him Uncle for nothing, mate.
Okay, Uncle Bill. There you go. Sounds like a film, doesn't it? It was Uncle Buck, wasn't it? Right, Stu, the midfield, Jack, Cantwell and Raskin, that's probably going to be our midfield, I would imagine. I know Dill's coming in, but that's going to be a midfield that we're going to see a lot of next season, isn't it?
Not if a certain Ecuadorian from the MLS comes in, I don't think we will. But
that's not. It's not.
I think Cantwell and Raskin you can pretty much bank on. Jack is going to be probably as much as he can handle. You know, we always get excited with Jack because he'll play a couple of games and he looks usually one of the best players on the pitch. And what's happened here? What's he done here to me?
This is the new thing that we're doing. And this is to make us look professional. That when somebody's talking, I can go to them full screen.
Scared the hell out of me, mate. Don't do that.
Sorry. Carry on with your point, mate.
I don't even like looking at my face, let alone letting them all do it. Yeah, so I just think Jack will, Jack will be in the team as much as possible next season. He's someone that is obviously a very good player when he's fit, but the problem is we can't keep him fit, and that's the problem with a lot of our players. I'm like really thrown out here because I can just see you giggling away on the little in the little game down the corner. But yeah, he's obviously a quality player, Jack. But we just, like a lot of players, we can't keep him fit, and I feel like that might be a problem next season with a couple of players, and maybe one of them being a new player. But we'll wait and see for that. And Craig Davidson there. Don't forget Lawrence here. So we've got plenty of players coming in and coming back. So I think that midfield will rotate quite a lot, and maybe he's going to have a few switches in formation. He does mention that 3-5-2 quite a lot, and whether Cantwell can move into different positions, we'll have to wait and see. I'd hope for a more settled team at times. You know, if it is going to be this new signing and Raskin Cantwell, I think that would be it the majority of the time. But like people are saying, we've got so many players out injured still that when you put them all back, there is a quality midfield there. So we'll probably need it with Europe and everything else. So it's just exciting, isn't it? I think I know this is the end of the season and it gets a bit depressing, but it's also exciting because like that next chapter is starting soon, and hopefully some signings are going to be announced.
There's a comment in for Derek that I'm going to bring up in a wee second. But James, first of all, before we come back to some individual players playing today, people on the bench, in terms of the game, now I probably should have done my research. I don't know what St Mirren have got to play for. I don't know if they can change position in the league. I don't think they can. Aberdeen have sewn up third. I think Hearts have sewn up fourth. So in terms of the actual game, do we expect much of a game today with two teams that maybe don't really have that much to play for?
I think St Mirren will be up for it, mate. They're always up for it when Rangers come calling. I know that I think Hearts and Hibs are still fighting out for fourth, I think. But St Mirren will always be up for it when they play Rangers because it's a cup final to them.
He finished far too early there, and I forgot my buttons.
He beat you there, mate. He won. He
did. He totally ripped it out me there, didn't he? That was shocking. Same point to you, Stu, actually. The game itself, what do we expect? Are we expecting to go there and absolutely trounce them? Or are we expecting kind of what we got against Hearts? A 15, 20 minutes of good play and then the game kind of dies down, and what are we expecting?
I think, James is bang on. I think only really Hearts and Hibs have something to play for in this top six, and else they meet today. But in terms of St Mirren, they're always going to be up for it. I think Robinson's going to want them to accumulate as many points as possible. It's going to be one of those weird situations again where 7th and possibly 8th finish with more points than them, but that's where I think our league looks a bit silly when they put the split together. I think if they actually separated the table out and put a bottom 6 and top 6, it wouldn't look so silly. But yeah, I think today we're going to get a stubborn St Mirren side. They've proven all season that they can cause problems to us and them. So it's going to be a test. But I think that's why he's picked the team he's picked. The likes of Yilmaz, Cantwell, and Raskin new in the door. But even Matondo and Hadji, these are guys that are hungry to get game time and get minutes. And I think it's quite a shrewd decision from Bill to play some of these players, because I think he wants a bit of hunger today. He's not going to want to go out of a draw or a stuffy 1-0 win. It is the last day of the season, and he's probably telling them to take the reins off a little bit and go for it. And a couple of these guys might be playing for a chance next season. You don't know what's been said behind closed doors. So I think the players have got to be up for it. And if you can't be up for it in these games, then I think you're going to tell Michael Beale everything he needs to know about you, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, Hugo Bear's saying it. James Beale wants to send the fans away happy and optimistic. Something that actually I never thought too much about. You can finish a season poorly and it follows you into the next. For some reason, whether you make 5 or 10 changes to your team, it's something that does seem to happen. So I suppose Hugo's got a point there. Bill wants to send the fans away happy and optimistic, but he also wants to keep the momentum going like he said at the end of this season.
Aye, 100%, mate. It's for me, if you winning breeds winning for me, and the players that are there will want to end on a high that know that they're going to be there next season, so they'll also want to carry that into next season for me. Your guys, like your Taverniers and Suitors and stuff, Cantwell and Raskin, that winning feeling, it gets good. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we need next season. We need to hit the ground running, and we need to start getting wins after wins after wins. None of this dropping stupid points against St Johnstone, St Mirren and stuff. We need to start battering teams, and we can do it the day. Start the day, and that's what you're doing. You're putting down a marker for next season to say, right, well, this is what's going to happen.
Is it telling, Stu, that Lundstrom's dropped into defence? I feel like I'm repeating myself. It's the final day of the season. Jack's come into midfield alongside Cantwell and Raskin. We've got Dowell who's coming in. Cifuentes apparently is coming in as well. And Lowry's still on the bench.
I don't know what it is with Lowry, if I'm honest. I mean, Lowry can play a lot further forward as well. You know, he can play out on that left if we need him to. I'm hoping he's going to get minutes today. You know, I've been on here, not slating the boy, but you know, sort of asking questions. And I know it's sometimes that's not fair because he's been through a lot personally, and nothing to do with that because obviously you know you can't help those things, and it must be really tough at such a young age to go through stuff like that. But in terms of his football, even before that, he was on the bench and then he was back in the B team for weeks. And there's been a lot of questions about Alex Lowry and maybe where his head's been at in times. If I don't know if he's got an agent and if this agent thinks he's going to be capable of getting a big move sooner rather than later, who knows? But he's someone that has a lot of talent. You can see that he's got that arrogance and that swagger about him when he goes on the pitch. He looks like he's been doing this for years. So there's clearly a lot of talent within him. It's just trying to put that on the pitch and get it out of him on a consistent basis. I'm hoping today we do get to see a little bit of him, because if we are going to be bringing in a lot of these sort of new signings next season and he's not moving up the pecking order, then he really needs to go out on loan, because at his age he needs first team football and his quality. He needs first team football for his quality. He's too good to sit on a bench or play in the B team. He's too good to probably go on loan to another Scottish team, if I'm honest. I'd like to see him go somewhere else. I'd like to see us explore the sort of foreign market a little bit for loans and send players out there to more technical leagues. Whether that would happen, I don't know. But I just don't want to see him end up in the bloody low end of the Scottish Premiership, slugging it out week in, week out, because he's much better than that. But hopefully today he can be a sort of, you know, he can get some minutes today and then kick on, get a proper pre-season, and we'll see where we are next season.
He has had some horrible personal circumstances this season as well, which we all have to remember. Obviously not something I'm going to bring up, but you know that I think that would affect anybody. It would affect us free sitting here, and it would affect anybody watching what young Alex has had to go through as well this season. So I think we have to remember that as well. But James RRM's asking, who would you drop in that team to play Lowry?
Well, obviously, mate, the way that Cantwell and Raskin have been playing, you're not going to drop any of the two of them right now. And Jack's obviously coming in to do a job there, mate, as a sitting midfielder. So he's not going to come in for any of the three just now. As I've said, I want to see a winning Rangers team on the park every single game, whether it's last game of the season or first game of the season, mate. So I want to see his win, but I do agree with Stu that the boy needs to go out and loan. If he's not going to do it next year or get a chance in the first team of Rangers, as Stu said, he's too good for the B team, and he really needs to get out and get some game time. Same with King for me. I would have King out and loan as well somewhere, just to give the boy a wee bit of experience somewhere else.
Well, Chick wants us to actually talk about the game because he's put in a good comment, and we don't usually discuss the other team or how the game's going to go. We just discuss all the players. But Stu, Chick is saying our more delicate players need to be aware of Curtis May, and Guy's just an animal. Suter, for me, is the one who you play on Curtis, because I think Suter's shown that, you know, he's an excellent defender, he's strong. The worry for me then is if Main moves over to the Lundstrom side of the defence, I suppose. And I'm trying to get all technical and Sky Sportsy here. But if I'm Rangers, I'm making sure that John Suter's almost doing a man marking job on Main the 4 or 5 times that St Mirren are in our box.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, to be honest. He's obviously a very physical player, and he's I think Derek's just summed it up there. He's one of these guys that he just leaves his mark all over the pitch. Then he's going to get involved. I still remember the one. I don't even know. Did he get sent off when he was at Aberdeen and he had a foot like above someone's head and nearly wiped? I think it was on Barisic, or nearly went through his chest with his foot or something like that. So you know the type of player he is. It's going to be a worry if he goes over to Lundstrom. Equally, what was the other option? We put King in there, and he'll probably try and do the same to King. And defenders got to be worth their salt. Lundstrom, I think, is, if that's the case and he goes over to him, I think Lundstrom's big enough to know that he's got to be physical in those battles. I was just having a little look at the card odds for both of them, to be honest, because I thought that could be a little ding dong battle between those two. Maybe a man marking job. I just don't think we should worry as much. I don't think they're going to have the ball enough in those areas to really hurt us in a battle like that. But that said, I don't know. I just feel like if he gets on Lundstrom early and they get an early chance out of him, Lundstrom could go to pieces, and then I'm just worrying like that whole game plan falls apart. So, maybe a suitor man mark job, but I don't know how you really deal with Curtis Main, because he's someone that on occasion can turn on, can score goals. Most of the time just runs about kicking people, but it's gonna be interesting either way. This is where you do want a Connor Goldson, isn't it? Or another centre back in there. Maybe not Ben Davies, because I think that would be the same. It's something we've got to address next season, having physical defenders that are going to be up for the battle, because that's one thing you can't accuse the league of. It's a physical battle every single game against these sides, and a few people I think coming in would do well to watch games like this, because I think these could be the eye openers for them.
Can I just say, Stu mentioned something there. If Ladbrokes or Coral or Skybet or Betfair or any other gambling sites out there are watching, if you want to sponsor the pod, we could always have a 5 or 10 minute section on the odds coming up for the game. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Would that mean we're not allowed to bet on them anymore, though?
No, we're allowed to bet.
It's just Premiership, you're not allowed to do that, is it?
And look, Derek made this point. How bad is the league when first and second are 30, 40 points ahead of third place? It's been that way since the early 90s, I think, or at least mid to late 90s. It's always been like that. And if you look at the English league, I think Man City are something like 15, 16 points ahead of Man U in third. So this happens all over the world. And the English Premier League's supposed to be the biggest and best league in the world with all the best players, and Man City keep walking away with the title. So this isn't just common to Scotland, James, is it? The teams with the most money finish higher up the table.
Yep, that's it. As you said, mate, it's been like that since I can remember. And obviously, I'm 40 something or other, and it's been like that since I can remember. I think the nearest. I think Rangers were nearer the top of the Premier League than what Aberdeen were when Rangers won the bottom leagues. That's how poor the other teams in Scotland really are. Do you know what I mean? So I just, as you said, Man City they can give teams an 8-point lead, and they still manage to claw it back and go 8 points in front of them. So it's teams with the most money, mate, will obviously come to the top.
It is. There's nothing you can do when teams have got more money. That's just the way it is. Right, Stu, predictions. Final predictions of the season. I don't think any of us have ever got one right. But in a game in Paisley, I was about to call it Love Street. I don't even know what's St Mirren Stadium called now.
It's just the St Mirren Stadium, isn't it? Or is it like got some weird sponsor?
I don't know. Because obviously my brother plays under 18s football for a team that shall not be named. We go to Hamilton quite a lot, and I think every time I go to Hamilton's ground, it's got a different name. So I don't know if it's the same way. I don't know if it's the same as St Mirren. But Stu, your prediction then for today?
It's a tough one. I'm usually like off the bat. I think it's going to be this. I don't really know what to make of today, to be honest. I think both teams will score, if I'm honest. So I'm going to go Rangers 3-1. And I'll give you a first goal score as well. I'm going to go Tavernier penalty just to end the season. So 3-1 Tavernier penalty.
The fact that Paul knows who I was talking about is worrying. Yeah, he does play for Dundee United. James, I'm not going to ask you for a prediction. I'm going to ask you to quickly, and I mean 30 to 40 seconds, because somebody who I forgot to talk about. In fact, there was 2 people I forgot to talk about. In fact, there was 3 people. So, James, you're one. Stu, you're the other one. A minute each, and then we're done. James Rabi Matondo, has he got something to prove today, do you think? Or because my question was going to be, does his performance today matter in terms of what's going to happen with him next season? Or do you think it's a bit unfair to kind of lamp all that pressure on one game?
I think it will stand him in good stead for next year, for me. It's good. It'll be good to get actual minutes into the boys' legs. I thought he had a very good game against Celtic. He's been unlucky in a couple of games. I know. I think they were in maybe Aberdeen that hit the post. But I think a good run out the day. Hopefully, he'll go on the score sheet today as well. Have a good performance, and that'll set him up, mate, for a good pre-season. Gets a good pre-season under with Beale, and I think the boy will come back next year and he will hit the ground running.
There's definitely a player there. I'll put. What'd you call it? Tie my nails to that mast. I'm doing a mark. I can't even remember what the metaphor is. There's definitely
nails to that mast.
I know. It's horrendous. I was on the phone to Mark the other day, and he said a saying to me, and it was just, you know, the saying's worth your weight in gold. I think he said like worth your weight in rice or something. You know, something stupid. You know that Mark comes out with. It was ridiculous. Stu, Alfredo Morelos, are we surprised that he's not even in the squad today?
Not after seeing a picture of him on a plane to London yesterday. No, not really, to be honest. So
well, there you go.
There was that, but yeah, no, I thought maybe he would get not a send off, but I thought he would appear from the bench. If
he got his send off at Ibrox, didn't he? But I'm surprised.
I thought he did at least be on the chair, like you. Cholak is on the bench, and just seen that. That's what. Yeah, so I imagine we're going to see Cholak today at least. But yeah, a little surprise. No Morelos. Bit of a sort of anticlimactic end to his time with us, but it is what it is.
I don't know if this is a joke, but right, Martin, I'll be round in 5, get the kettle on. That's a bit worrying if that person knows where I live. There you go. All right, gents, that'll do us. I was wondering what that knocking was at 4 a.m. That'll do us. We'll be back shortly after full time for the final reaction of the season. Of course, if you enjoy the content, you like it. There is plenty, and there will be plenty throughout the close season content over on the Rabble Patreon. As we look to grow, we will be in discussions with Rangers about what we can do going forward as well, because the Patreon has took off, it's grew. YouTube keeps growing. So, you know, we're live shows, loads of people are attending. So people are enjoying the content, and hopefully the content grows, and next season we get even bigger and we can bring even better content. But everybody, go and enjoy the game. Stu, James, thank you very much. We'll see you all for match reaction after a convincing Rangers win and a Rabi Matondo hat-trick. Cheers, guys. Speak to you soon.